So it's important to really have a clear process that works for you. All right. And then focus on the most promising leads that will be the best clients. Don't go after people that will make your life miserable. You don't have to do that. You don't. Okay. Maybe if you're brand new in business. Hey there, everyone. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Female Empowered Podcast. I am your host, Krista Gurka. I am so happy to have you here with me today. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, or if you were a first-time listener, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you've listened to this podcast and would take a few moments to rate and review the podcast, you can scroll down to the show notes. It really, really does help me. I know you hear this from all podcast hosts, but it does help me get this podcast in front of more people, which ultimately I believe helps me help more women be more financially solvent and independent in their businesses. So if you could rate and review this podcast, it would really, really mean a lot to me. All right, so getting into today's episode, I'm actually really excited about this episode. I'm excited about all my episodes, to be honest, but this conversation has come up numerous times in our Facebook groups and in our mentorship programs. And so I decided that I would do a podcast episode about it. So what we're going to talk about today is having a system and a strategy to turn leads, and what leads means are prospective clients, into paying clients. And so that's really what I'm going to talk about today. Now, tracking leads is one of those things that, at least for me, it kind of got put on the back burner a little bit when I started my business. And why? What? Because there's so many other things to do. There's, you know, answering the phones, returning emails, trying to sell, market, service, teach the classes, treat the patients. And usually what generally happens is that we don't create a system to track those leads. Like, we're busy doing the stuff day to day. And so when you ask people about tracking leads, it becomes something like, oh, that's just one more thing I have to do. Most of us are not really comfortable with technology. That's a generalization. So if you are, I'm not, please don't DM me on Instagram that's not a good comment. But a lot of people, at least I've seen this in my groups, like a lot of us are not very comfortable with technology. I don't know about you, but I cannot create an Excel sheet to save my life. And so coming up with a tracking system is challenging for a lot of people, especially when you're just starting out and doing all of the things on your own. However, it is one of the things that I really encourage people, even if it's very, very simple, to create a system where you can track the leads. Those are like people that call or inquire, all of that stuff. And then how are you going to follow up with them? And if you can automate it, that's even better. Okay, so now automating it takes more and more work off of your plate so that you can focus on the things that really light you up. Okay, and if tracking leads and sales and stuff lights you up, then that's what you should be doing. I do believe that you should do it as a business owner in the beginning, because then you can kind of see all the kinks and work out all the kinks and then train other people to do it properly. Right, so it really is important to, at some point, create this system. So, it will tell you a lot of things. It will tell you how your marketing is doing. It will tell you how well you're converting prospective clients into paying clients. All right. And then it gives you objective data from which you can grow your business or make certain decisions in your business, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So what are the key components of a lead attraction and tracking system, specifically a tracking system? Okay. Because I'm not going to talk too much today about attracting the leads. What I'm going to talk about is what you do when you get them and how you can follow up with them. Okay. So one of the things that's really, really important is just to create something, okay, something that you can enter that person's information in. Now, there are lots of CRMs out there, okay? And then you can use even a spreadsheet. All right. You can use a spreadsheet. And actually, in this episode, I am going to give you, I actually created a freebie, a really, really, really basic freebie, a basic lead tracking system for you, specifically for my podcast listeners. So if you go, and I'm going to link it up in the show notes, I'm going to say it many, many times. If you go to kristagurka.com/leads and you enter the promo code podcast, you will be able to get my lead tracker for absolutely free. It's what we use in our business mentorship programs. And so if you want to go pause this podcast, type in kristagurka.com/leads, enter the promo code podcast, you will grab that right now and you can go through it. You can also, there's a description on how to use it, and you can also kind of make it your own if you want to. So what we're going to talk about is how much easier it gets to convert clients when you have this system. Okay. So now, one of the things about having a system to track leads in your business is that it allows you to effectively manage and then follow up with potential customers and clients. Okay. Ultimately, what this does is improve your conversion rate. It improves your revenue, and then it does ultimately improve your retention. Okay. So what we mean when we talk about conversion rates is there's different ways to set conversion. Some people talk about what's the conversion rate from a new prospect, so like an inquiry, to scheduling their first session. That could be an intro session, that could be an evaluation, whatever your business model or modality is. Okay. Then there can be a conversion from how many of those new visits actually show up for that first session. And then there's a conversion rate for how many of those visits that showed up convert into long-term clients. All right. So you just have to decide where you're going to make the conversions. At Pilates in the Grove, we track how many of our inquiries actually become clients, and then how many of our first-time visits become returning clients and buy long-term memberships. And that's usually the metric that we really, really go on. Okay. So according to a study by Marketing Sherpa, businesses that have a lead tracking system in place have a 50% higher conversion rate than those that don't. Now, on the surface, this makes sense to me, because if you have a way that you can follow up with people, and listen, let me just tell you, like, people nowadays, if you don't make it easy for them, there's too many decisions out there. There's too many options, and people forget. People forget. All right. I just realized this morning that I was supposed to send a follow-up to a guest expert that's going to speak into one of our mentorship programs 3 weeks ago, and I completely forgot to do it. All right. So people forget, especially if they're in calling on the phone or they're texting you. And, so having a system in place where you can follow up with them is really, really crucial. And it could increase your conversions and sales by 50%. It's pretty amazing, I think. All right. So tracking those leads allows you then to prioritize and focus on the most promising opportunities. So what we do when we track in our CRM, we will say, like, what kind of lead this is. So, like, in other words, what kind of lead is it, and how likely do we think that they are to buy from us? So when we talk about a cold lead means someone that has no idea of you. Like, maybe they Googled you, or something along social media came along their platform. They don't really know you. They don't know anything about you. They're looking at your website or contact you. That's really like a cold lead. Okay. We call that the top of the funnel. So when you talk about sales, it looks like a funnel, and the biggest part of the funnel is the top. So you get all these people come in, and then the people that buy are the little ones that come out at the bottom. So lots of cold leads lead to little hot leads. Okay. So warm leads, which is called the middle of the funnel, are people that have already known about you a little bit. So this is why we talk about nurturing your leads. This is why we talk about getting people to know, like, and trust you. And there's various ways that you can do that in your business. And then we have hot leads. Hot leads are people that have bought from you before. So in my business, for example, if someone is a Pilates client, they are hot. They're more likely to buy physical therapy services from us, or vice versa. Okay. So not only does having this system allow you to focus on people that are more likely to buy from you, it kind of optimizes it so that you can focus your efforts on those people. So I'll give you a perfect example. We have intro classes at our studio, and we have them set on the schedule. And we got a lot of people that come in, they're free. And so we had someone come in, I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago maybe, and she had said her doctor referred her to try Pilates, and she was very honest. She's like, "You're the first studio I've tried. I have 2 other intros out there." When she came out of the intro, she really, really liked it. She told me she was having another intro at Club Pilates and then another one, I think the day after at another studio, but she was really interested. She was asking a lot of questions. And so to me, that is someone that has good buying potential. So when in our lead tracker, we star that person and make sure that we are going to reach out to them because we think they're the right fit for our studio. Now, on the flip side, we have had people come in that are looking for more of like a Lagree studio, or they're looking for more yoga. I usually tell them that's a cold lead. And I will tell my administrators, maybe don't worry about reaching out to them. That's not really, they're going to go somewhere else. They're better suited for somewhere else. And that's okay too. Part of understanding who your ideal customers are is understanding who your ideal customers are not. That is very, very powerful as well. Okay. So we are not for everybody, and neither should you be in your business. So a lead tracking system also allows you to capture and manage customer information. What's really great about this is you can kind of have a better understanding of their needs and preferences, so you can personalize these post follow-up interactions. So I will give you an example. That example that I just gave you, I put in the tracker, I can't remember her name. Let's say it's Jane. She was going to visit Club Pilates and et cetera. So when we'd send a follow-up, we would say, "Hi, Jane, I wanted to see how your follow-up with Club Pilates went and with, I can't remember the other studio. Did you have any questions for us? I'd love to give you more information if you think we ended up being the right fit for you." So we can personalize it. Or we've had people come in for their intros and say that they're traveling for a month and then they're going to come back. We'll put that in the little tracker in our notes section so that when they reach out, we'll say something like, "Oh, I hope you had a great visit to California to see your granddaughter. We'd love to welcome you back in the studio. We have a class opening or a session opening tomorrow at 10. Does that work for you?" Again, making it really, really, really easy for people. Lower the barrier of entry, make it easy for them to say yes. All right. Now, by automating this process, okay, you can save time and increase your efficiency and effectiveness, which is one of the ways that you're optimizing for conversions. It's probably one of the ways people that actually have a lead generation tracking system improve their conversion rates and revenue by 50%. Because it's very easy to follow. Right? Sometimes you can't remember. Sometimes I don't remember. It's why I document really soon after my PT visits, because sometimes I don't remember what I did with them. And I know that might sound weird, but I got a lot of things going on in my head. So the way that we use our system and the way that we create this lead tracker, so we basically take the lead tracker that I mentioned in this podcast. So again, if you're interested in grabbing your free lead tracker, go to kristagurka.com/leads. Enter the promo code podcast and you'll get it for free. So what we do is we create these for our members in our FitBiz Foundations and Inner Circle programs that are very specific to their unique business. Okay. And what it is it's an Excel sheet. In the Inner Circle, we create ones that are a little bit more in depth. But for our FitBiz Foundations members, we create it and it says their name, their date. It will say, how did they hear about you? And they have a drop-down menu. So was it Google? Did they walk by? Was it a friend, a colleague, a doctor, social media, et cetera, et cetera? What is their pain point? So what are they coming in for? Have they booked? And then we start to put in the final column over there, kind of like, where are they in our lead funnel? Okay, so what does that mean? Are they an inquiry? Did they just inquire? Are they in the nurture phase? Meaning, are we nurturing them? Are we sending them information? Are we reaching back out to them? Are they in the scheduled phase? So did they schedule that first visit? Now from there, did they arrive? So did they show up for that visit? And are they now going to book another session? And at the very last one is, so we have converted and then lost. Lost means they went cold. And a lot of times we like to find out, why did they go cold? Okay, so was it, sometimes we know they're just not the right customers for us. And then we have to go back and look at our marketing strategy to say, maybe we're attracting the wrong kind of clients here. And how can we improve that so we get the right kind of clients into the business? Okay, maybe it was a service, maybe it was a parking, maybe nobody spoke to them when they walked in the front door. Maybe they couldn't find it. All of these things are information that you can then use to improve your system. Now we have it very, very automated. So we have it set up where they'll get from inquiry, they'll get a follow-up email, they'll get a text. From the time of schedule, we send reminder emails out. From the time they had their first visit, there's different points of contacts. We have found the secret sauce number is 4 contacts. Contacts can be anything from a personal greeting at the studio by name. It can be a text message from our studio manager. It can be an auto email, or it could be like a shout out in class, something to that effect. So we have found 4, and we have these automated. So between the time that they inquire and 21 days later, we're trying to convert them into a longer term package. All right. And with this information, with this data that we get from our lead tracking system, we can see where is the kink in the chain. So if we have a really low conversion rate, what is happening? Are people scheduling and not showing up? How can we improve that? Maybe we can send better reminders. Okay. Are people showing up, but then not converting? What's happening during that session that they're not thinking that this is the right place for them? Or are they calling for inquiry, but they're not scheduling a session? So where is the kink in the chain, and how can we improve that? Now, I know that a lot of small business owners, we have a lot of challenges. Like, I'll give a perfect example. I woke up, the first call I got this morning was at 7:57 saying that it smelled like gas in one of the studios. Everyone was outside. They thought they smelled gas. We called the fire department. So listen, we got a lot of fires, no pun intended, to put out. Luckily, safely, it was nothing. It was good. But my administrator, amazing. She did an amazing job handling that. But we have a lot of hats to wear. We got a lot of things. So sometimes people are like, oh, I don't have the bandwidth to create this lead tracker. Okay. Well, if you don't, again, download ours, christagurka.com/leads. You'll get yours. Okay. You can start using it. But it's hard because we're managing a lot of different things. However, if we can put these in a system and that gives us more revenue and better conversions, isn't that worth a little bit of the work? All right. I think it is. So it's important to really have a clear process that works for you. All right. And then focus on the most promising leads that will be the best clients. Don't go after people that will make your life miserable. You don't have to do that. You don't. Okay. Maybe if you're brand new in business and you need the clients, okay. But at some point, you don't have to chase down people that are not going to be the right fit for you. I no longer am about convincing people, right? I'm communicating the value that we provide rather than convincing. Connection, communication over convincing. Okay, so I'm not just trying to be like, oh, you have to do this because of X, Y, Z. And no, I know the value of what we can offer, and I know who we can help and who we cannot help. Okay. So without a good system, you're also having ineffective follow-up. So one of the biggest challenge for small business owners is following up and following up in a timely manner. So I'll give you another good example. All right. My son goes to Ohio State. He tweaked his Achilles playing basketball. I was very worried about it because when he showed me where the pain was and saying that he felt a lot of tightness and he couldn't rise up on one toe, I was like, holy shit, Achilles tear, da, da, da. But anyways, I tried to reach out to a couple different practices in the Columbus area. And one of them responded right away to me, and the two others didn't respond for 2 days. And guess who got the appointment? The person that responded right away. All right. So what kind of follow-up do you have? Now, I'm not saying you should be responding to emails at midnight or text. No, 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 that's not what I'm saying. But you could have an autoresponder. Okay. You could make sure, nor would I expect a business to respond to me at midnight. All right. But they responded to me the next day via email and even said, I left my phone number and they called me and they texted me. All right. So in our system, we have a tracker that says who's responsible for the next follow-up, and it automatically creates a task we used Asana. It creates a task in Asana, and it also sends a reminder in Slack. So there are ways that you can automate it. And these are some of the things that we work on in our mentorship programs to help the business owners not have to manually reply to leads. Now, if you're a solopreneur, and it's you by yourself and you're seeing 12 to 15 visits a week, maybe you can just say, at the end of the day, you take from 3 to 4 and you return clients or messages. Or maybe you do admin days Tuesday and Thursdays, and that's when you're returning your client, your calls or your emails or your texts yourself. That's another thing. Asking people what their preferred method of communication is great. I do not want to get on the phone. I really don't. I want to either text or email or, book online. Now, there's other generations that don't want to do that. So another reason why it's really, really important to understand your ideal customers, who they are, how they think, what they want. Okay. So having a solid tracking system, and it does not have to be complicated. It really doesn't have to be complicated. Okay. I have our women in the FitBiz Foundations program update theirs weekly. Okay. And then the women in Inner Circle update it weekly. And then we have a big monthly one where we check everyone's numbers for the whole month. And then we review them. All right. So if you're interested in grabbing this free resource, okay, that's really exclusive for my podcast listeners, if you go to www.kristagurka.com/leads, type in the promo code podcast where it says promo code, hit apply, and it will be yours for free. And there's a video tutorial of me explaining how to use it. And there's a link for how to do that. If you have any questions about it, I'd love to hear your feedback. You can DM me over on Instagram or email me, Krista@PilatesInTheGrove.com. It's a really, this tracker is a really simple tracker that you can use if you're even a Pilates-based studio, yoga, physical therapy, massage, nutritionist, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So once again, having a solid lead tracking and follow-up sequence in place can increase your revenue and your conversion by 50%. 50%. That's amazing. So if you did $100,000 in your business last year and you now implement this kind of system, you could generate, just by implementing this system, you could generate an additional $50,000. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right. And you can start to tweak it and update it as your business grows and as your needs change. So once again, www.kristagurka.com/leads, enter the promo code podcast, and you'll download our lead tracker for free. All right. And I'd love to really hear what you think. Honestly, I'd love to hear what you think. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? It helps me improve little things and freebies and all of these resources that I create for you based on what it is that you and your business needs, and for ease of use. That's another thing. It has to be easy. If it's not easy, we won't use it and we won't do it. All right. Well, that is all I have for you today, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, go grab your lead tracker, start tracking your leads, and have a great one. Bye for now.